It started out as a disruptive week for hundreds, if not thousands, of passengers across the country as commercial drivers started their indefinite strike in demand for the government to scrap off taxes like the Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy, the Special Petroleum Tax, the Energy Recovery Levy, and the Sanitation Levy. Now, these are signs and sounds that we gathered from several bus stations in Accra and across the country. And of course, the situation across various bus stops disrupted, workflow, especially when workers had to call off their working day just because they could not afford a vehicle, to shuttle them to work. We're talking about transport prices on the shared riding systems as Uber and Yango together as Bolt skyrocketing from 10 cities in terms of 1 kilometer journeys to close to 40 cities in that nature. Meanwhile, we have a statement from the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, calling for the suspension of the strike action by these commercial drivers. And it reads on your screen, the intended strike action, which was scheduled to take effect today, has been suspended. The leadership of the union had been invited to the presidency during the course of the day. Development will be communicated to members, and we therefore entreat all our cherished members to go back to their normal duties, the statement reads. But what has to give in the midst of this situation? Duncan Amoam is Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, and he joins us on the program. Duncan, we're grateful that you could join us. We know that fuel prices, dropped marginally since the 1st of December. Some prices of petroleum products have dropped, from 6.9 per litre, cedis per litre, to about 6.80, that's 6 cedis, 80 pesos per litre. But consumers are concerned, like the transport operators you see on your screens. It is not actually reflecting on their pockets. What could be going wrong?
Well, let me say good afternoon, Charles. Good afternoon to your viewers. Clearly, the calls by these commercial transport operators is not a misplaced one. Every single Ghanaian who buys petrol, one way or the other, has over the past few months had cause to complain. The complaint has come in the form of what their pockets, is recording. For people who used to probably use 200 cedis for the entire week, today you need about 320, 330 Ghana cedis in order to be able to go about your week. So there's general hardship that these fuel price increments has brought onto the people. I have had cause to consult with these drivers. They do come to us, we go to them, we need to explain to them why this is that clearly can be done. And so we believe strongly that there is not such a thing as the drivers just asking, or they are being ignorant, or they are probably being mischievous. Where petrol prices is
I'm afraid we have lost Duncan Amma. We'll try and raise him back on the line. He's Executive Secretary for COPEC there, stating the fact that the drivers, indefinite strike is much more justified. Duncan, we lost you somewhere, but of course we have reconnected. There is a scheduled meeting at 4 p.m. between transport operators and the sector ministry. What must give in this crucial meeting?
Well, Charles, what we are discussing is a myriad of taxes that we believe some could be suspended. If government decided to suspend some of the taxes, albeit momentarily or for a period or for a quarter, some of the high pump prices that we are seeing, which has crossed 30 cedis a gallon, could actually decelerate a bit so that food prices do not necessarily go up. Cost of goods and services do not necessarily go up. Charles, per calculations we have done in-house, if government was to give all the taxes that the trotro or the commercial transport operators are asking for to be given, not to scrap, but to relieve for, let's say, a quarter, what government would lose generally would be something in the region of 800 million Ghana cedis. Is this revenue completely lost? The answer is no. As we speak, government is also taking out crude for export. And so anytime you talk of crude being 70, being 80, those are revenues that we are discussing for government. Once crude goes up, it would eventually trickle down to the price of finished products. The finished products also go up, and then the pump prices follow. So we say that because you are an oil-producing country, there is a formula that we have even devised, a copy of which has been submitted with the NPA, the Energy Ministry, and Finance Ministry. The formula says that if crude prices move up to a certain point, you ease the taxes to a point. If it decelerates or goes down, you also enforce the taxes. Then we did the revenue assurance numbers also to the side to demonstrate that reducing these taxes as and when times are rough, like you are getting towards Christmas, times are pretty rough. If you reduce these taxes, government will take a bit of a hit, but government will make up for that hit from international market prices of the crude we export. So, Charles, there's something to give. There's something to gain. Unfortunately, the finance minister has been pretty much adamant to the cries and concerns of Ghanaians. You'll be surprised that the general strike action that was embarked upon this morning, instead of being unpopular with the people, is rather popular because a lot more who are not necessarily commercial transport operators are also feeling the pinch of these taxes. Let me add lastly that at the start of the deregulation, of the whole deregulation program, in front of me,
I'm afraid the connection isn't that favorable there. Duncan Amoah has been detailing to us what must give in the wake of the, kind of impasse we're experiencing at the various bus stops. We're going to be keeping a close eye on the impending meeting, the emergency meeting between the presidency and leadership of these commercial transport unions to give you updates on business life at 5 p.m. So please stay tuned for that.